Radio service of Blaze Communications Network Incorporated. Good evening and welcome to Blaze News Point. 45 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. Today is Tuesday, August 11, 2026. My name is Menso Mendy on top of today's presentation. Stories topping the headlines. President Joseph Boycott calls for urgent action to address delays and implementation gaps affecting his administration the rest agenda for inclusive development. Ministry of Education begins digitalizing school operating permits to improve transparency, accountability, and monitoring of schools across Liberia. Managing Director of the Liberia Water and Civil Corporation, Mohamed Ali, announces increment in Pueblo water from 5% to 9% of the country's population. And away from Liberia, South African police launches an investigation after 14 suspected illegal miners were killed when a man dump site collapsed on them on Monday night. The news bulletin, the voices of those making the news and sports are all packaged on today's presentation. But first is Stephen Talu and the news bulletin. Stephen, good evening.
Good evening, Mandy. President Joseph Boakai has called for urgent action to address delays and implementation gaps affecting his administration's arrest agenda for inclusive development. Speaking Tuesday, August 11, while chairing the National Steering Committee on the Arrest Agenda, President Boakai acknowledged that while progress has been made, some government programs are falling apart due to delays and institutional bottlenecks. The president has placed all government institutions on notice to fully implement their set of programs without further delaying, stressing that Liberians expect a tangible result from the government. President Boakai also cautioned government officials against excessive travel, saying frequent trips can affect productivity, urging officials to focus on delivering results rather than relying on excuses for poor performance. Also speaking finance development Planning Minister Augustine Gafan highlighted improvements in Liberia's economic performance during the first year of implementing the arrest agenda for inclusive development. Mr. Gafan said Liberia's real gross domestic product growth increased from 4% in 2024 to 5.1% in 2025, with growth projected to reach 5.5% in 2026. On inflation, Minister Gafan said the rate remained largely contained in single digits throughout 2025, noting that inflation rose from 3.2% in January 2026 to 5% by June, largely due to global fuel price increase and their import on domestic markets. The Ministry of Education has begun digitizing school operating permits as part of efforts to improve transparency, accountability, and monitoring of schools across Liberia. Speaking Tuesday at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing in Monrovia, Education Minister Dr. Jasu Jalas said the former paper-based system made it difficult to maintain accurate records of schools operating across the country. Minister Jala said private schools are now required to apply online for operating permit with applications processed at both county and central levels. She disclosed that the ministry has identified cases where some schools operating at multiple educational levels submitted teachers whose qualifications did not meet the requirements for those levels. That Jala further noted that the government has provided funding to renovate public schools across the country that are in poor conditions. She said the renovation program is part of a broader government effort to improve our learning environment and strengthen the quality of education. The managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Mohammed Ali, says the government has made progress in expanding access to safe and reliable water across Liberia. Speaking Tuesday at Monrovia City Hall during the review of the arrest agenda for inclusive development, Ali said LWC's pipe-borne water coverage has increased from a little over 5% in 2024 to 9% under the current administration. He said when they took over the corporation in 2024, only about 5% of the population had access to LWSC's water supply system. Ali said LWSC is targeting 10% national water supply coverage by the end of 2027, attributing the projected increase to the construction and rehabilitation of water facilities across the country. He assured that LWSC will continue working with the government and development partners to improve access to safe and reliable water and ensure that more Liberians benefit from improved water service. The chairperson of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Sano County Chapter, Emmanuel Seyon, says the party lost the 2023 presidential election due to its failure to effectively counter what it described as continuous propaganda from the opposition, particularly the Unity Party. Speaking in Greenville, Sano County, Seyon accused the then opposition of spreading allegations involving drug trafficking, missing government money, and the debts of auditors to damage the reputation of the Weah Taylor administration. He claimed that the allegations contributed significantly to the CDC's defeat in 2023 elections, accusing the Unity Party of using what he described as lies and propaganda to gain political power. He also rejected claims that US 16 billion went missing during the former administration and denied allegations that the Weah Taylor government was responsible for the debts of government. Auditors say international investigations did not support those claims. Meanwhile, Sewa accused the Unity Party-led government of continuing to implement policies introduced under the CDC administration, admitting that former President George Weah's Popo agenda brought a significant improvement to Liberia during its time in government. Science said the CDC has learned from its 2023 defeat and is preparing to regain political power. The Monrovia Consolidated School System says it is taking steps to address teacher welfare and personnel challenges through government payroll placement, scholarship opportunities, and improved employee management. Speaking at the Charles Agbaya Hall in Monrovia, MCSS Superintendent Dr. Gary Stevens, one of the institution's major challenges is a large number of qualified teachers who are not yet on government payroll. That Stevens said the MCSS is working to facilitate the placement of qualified teachers subject to verification and other required personnel process. She also disclosed that government funding has been secured to cover tuition and return affair for 90 MCSS teachers are pursuing to return to Liberia after their studies and be assigned to schools within the MCSS. That Stevens further say 11 MCSS students have received international scholarship through the Ministry of Education and are currently studying at Our Lady of Grace National School in India. Meanwhile, Dr. Stevens said the MCSS is developing a digital employee management system that will serve as the institution's first comprehensive electronic personal database. Nema County District Number 5 Representative Kato Kwagru has accused Senator Samuel Kuka of receiving the recently disbursed 10,000 analysis legislative engagement fund, despite publicly criticizing the allegation. Representative Kwagru made the allegation during a local radio interview in Nema County, accusing Senator Kuka of having political differences with Nema County Superintendent Kou Gono. Kwagru alleged that Senator Kuka does not want Superintendent Gono to succeed and is attempting to undermine her administration for political reasons. The lawmaker further claimed that while members of the Nema County Legislative Caucus received the allocation through checks, Senator Kuka allegedly obtained a separately and letter sent the money to Nema students studying in Rwanda for what Kwagru described as political propaganda. Representative Kwagru defended the 10,000 allocation, saying the money was intended to support legislative engagement, community project groups, and other initiatives in lawmakers' district. He also claimed that the allocation is not a new arrangement and that similar funding has been provided to lawmakers annually, including Senator Koga. The Federation of Liberian Youths has revealed that it will launch the National Youth Government Dialogue on Wednesday, August 12, 2022, as part of activities marking a National Youth Day. FLA President Ernest Jela said the dialogue will be held to honor the theme, closing the gap and building a trust between younger people and government. Jala said the initiative will provide a platform for younger Liberians to directly engage government officials on issues affecting them and discuss practical solutions to the challenges they face. According to him, about 74.6% of Liberia's population is below the age of 35, making young people a critical part of the country's development process. However, Jala said engagement between young people and the government has largely been limited to election period when politicians seek support from young voters. The FLA president is calling on the government to listen to the young people's concern and improve services and opportunities for them. He says sustained dialogue is essential to building trust and ensuring that serving voices, youth voices, are included in national decision making. Nema County Superintendent Kogono has defended the allocation of 10,000 US dollars annually to lawmakers in each district, saying the money was approved by the county council to support legislative engagements and development activities. Superintendent Kogono says the funds are intended to help lawmakers visit development projects, engage citizens, and monitor projects across the country. She explained that the 10,000 US dollar is an additional amount to approximately 5,000 US dollars lawmakers received from central government. The Nema County Superintendent clarified that the money was not specifically allocated for district sports leagues, revealing that some lawmakers may have used a part of their allocation to support sports, but the main purpose of the fund is legislative engagement. Superintendent Gono also noted that Nema County remains united despite growing political interest among some individuals, stressing that the county is politically important due to its population and resources. She called on Nema residents to remain focused on development and not allow political differences to create division. And away from Liberia, South African police have launched an investigation after 14 suspected illegal miners were killed when the main dump site collapsed on them on Monday night. Police say 8 other miners were injured, while an unknown number of people may still be trapped underground. The incident occurred at a site largely operated by a mining company, although authorities have not determined how the miners gained access. A regional Police Commander Lieutenant General Arthur Adams said the site was being used to extract platinum and other metals. He said the walls of the dumping site collapsed on the manors. Blaze News.
Steven Talud with the news bulletin. This is indeed a regular featured on Blaze News Point. For new, fast, factual, and always up to date, you are just in tune to Blaze News Point. Here are the big stories topping the headlines. President Joseph Boakai calls for urgent action to address delays and implementation gaps affecting his administration's arrest agenda for inclusive development. Ministry of Education begins digitizing school operating permits to improve transparency, accountability, and monitoring of schools across Liberia. Managing Director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Mohamed Ali, announces increment in Pueblo water from 5% to 9% of the country's population. And away from Liberia, South African police launches an investigation after 4 suspected illegal miners were killed when a man dumped sand collapsed on them on Monday night. Reports of those making the news and sports are still ahead, but this break, Toby right back. Welcome back to Blaze News Point. We don't take our first development. President Joseph Boakai has called for urgent action to address delays in implementation gaps affecting his administration arrest agenda for inclusive development. Speaking Tuesday, August 11, while chairing the National Steering Committee on the arrest agenda, President Boakai acknowledged that while progress has been made, some government programs have fallen short due to delays and institutional bottlenecks. The president has placed government institutions on notice to further implement their sector programs without further delays, stressing that Liberians expect tangible results from the government.
While progress has been made, we must be honest with ourselves that the achievement has not been consistent. In the same, some area, efforts fell short. The implementation gaps, delays, institutional bottlenecks were still present. These issues demand immediate action. And as we are committed to delivering our agenda within the established time frame, we must do what is right. Government is fully dedicated to achieving results, and the people expect our national plan. And all institutions are hereby on notice to implement full range of our sector interventions without further delay. And I mean it seriously. You could ask all the permission to travel. Sometimes we don't want to say no, but we also see the effect on your productivity. Trust me, we are quite aware of the shortcomings. We took over government with a lot of things that were not in place, but we can't continue. The Liberians are not going to forgive you because you have good excuses.
Also speaking, Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gaffouin highlighted improvements in Liberia's economic performance during the first year of implementing the arrest agenda for inclusive development. Minister Gaffouin said Liberia's real gross domestic product growth increased from 4% in 2024 to 5.1% in 2025, with growth projected to reach 5.5% in 2026.
At the macro level, Liberia continues to navigate a challenging global and fiscal environment. Nevertheless, our economic performance during the first year of implementation, that is 2025, and the first half of 2026, shows encouraging results. Over the past year, Liberia's macroeconomic performance has shown encouraging momentum. Real GDP growth increased from 4% in 2024 to 5.1% in 2025 and is projected to reach 5.5% in 2026, aligning well with the growth path outlined in the Arrest Agenda. GDP per capita also improved, rising from $849 in 2024 to $861 in 2025, with projections of $961 in 2026, bringing us steadily closer to the AARD target of $1,050, and I mean US dollars, by 2029. Inflation remained largely contained throughout 2025, staying within single digits.
That's the voice of President. That's the voice of Finance and Development Planning Minister implementing the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development. Earlier on, you listened to the voice of President Joseph Boakai calling for urgent action to address delays and implementation gaps affecting his administration. Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development. The Ministry of Education has begun digitizing school operating permits as part of efforts to improve transparency, accountability, and monitoring of schools across Liberia. Speaking Tuesday at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing in Monrovia, Education Minister Dr. Jaso Jada said the former paper-based system made it difficult to maintain accurate records of schools operating across the country. Mr. Jada said private schools are now required to apply online for operating permits, with applications processed at both county and central levels.
Pivot from the registration fee to the digitized school permit system. When we took over in 2024, we couldn't understand how schools were approved through a paper process that was not transparent and not effective. So through the office of Minister Kanga, who was, I give people their flowers when they can see and smell it, Minister Kanga and his team really led the effort with ensuring that we have a permitting system that was digitized. What does that mean? A school wants to operate, they have to go online, they have to apply, and we have a process from the county level to central office to clear that, looping in the LRA, where school operators must pay their fees before we get them processed. We are seeing where there's major issues with schools that are applying for permits. We see that some schools will send us list of their teacher listing, and we see that the schools are operating kindergarten through 12th grade, sometimes kindergarten through 6th grade or junior high, and their entire faculty are high schoolers.
Dr. Jarrad further noted that the government has provided funding to renovate public schools across the country that is in poor condition. She said the renovation program is part of broader government efforts to improve learning environments and strengthen the quality of education.
The ministry has received funding through the PSIP program in the national budget to support school renovations. And I tell you, when we were done with the assessment of the number of schools that require renovations, it was alarming. And we are taking steps now to complete renovations for schools, begin renovations for schools. Some of them we've began since last year. And we're moving incrementally because, the realities of what we inherited is beyond what the funding that is available for us to do if we wanted to really take on all of them. So
that's the voice of the Minister of Education, Dr. Jaso Jada, noting that the government has provided funding to renovate public schools across the country that is in poor condition. At the same time, revealing that the Ministry of Education has begun digitizing school operating permits as part of efforts to improve transparency, accountability, and monitoring of schools across Liberia. To this development, the managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Mohamed Ali, says the government has made progress in expanding access to safe and reliable water across Liberia. Speaking Tuesday at the Monrovia City Hall during the review of the arrest agenda for inclusive development, Ali said LWSC per-born water coverage has increased from a little over 5% in 2024 to 9% under the current administration. Ali said LWSC is targeting 10% national water supply coverage by the end of 2027, attributing the projected increase to the construction and rehabilitation of water facilities across the country.
Mr. President and members of the cabinet, when we took over in 2024, our pipe-borne water supply to the population was a little over 5%. At the moment, pipe-borne water supply has increased to 9% of the population, and by next year we'll hit 10% as we are constructing water facilities in counties. We've completed Pupudu and connecting homes. By the end of December, we would have completed Pubu in Maryland, and we'll ask His Excellency the President to dedicate that. We would have also completed Greenville, and by early next year, we'll complete Zwedru. At the moment, we have completed the 48-inch pipe 10 kilometers, and we'll be commissioning that in early September again. The World Bank has asked that we invite His Excellency the President. Interventions are ongoing in Compound 3, Basel, Tututa in Bond County, Cooper Farm in Fendel. We will also get interventions in Harper, Tapeta, and other places.
That's the voice of the managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Mohamed Ali, revealing that the government has made progress in expanding access to safe and reliable water supply across Liberia. The chairperson of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Sando County chapter, Emmanuel Seyon, says the party lost the 2023 presidential election due to its failure to effectively counter what he described as continuous propaganda from the opposition, particularly the Unity Party. Speaking in Greenville, Sando County, Seyon accused the then opposition of spreading allegations involving drug trafficking, missing government money, and the deaths of auditors to damage the reputation of the Weah Taylor administration, and claimed that the allegations contributed significantly to the CDC defeat in the 2023 elections, accusing the Unity Party of using what he described as lies and propaganda to gain political power.
Honesty in politics pays. In everything for that matter. It's not only politics. One of the things that was responsible, the major one, after my political calculations and research, it was the CDC. We as a party did not manage the propaganda of the Unity well. We did not manage the propaganda, the lies of the Unity Party well, in my opinion. Some of those things that Unity Party was saying were not true. For example, they said that 16 billion gone missing and that money was packed to George Weah. That was fallacies. The international firm called Crow came and did an investigation and they said there was no 16 million gone missing, right? They said that everybody that was dying in the country, be a natural death, whatever the death is, he said that George Weah was doing it because he needed some kidney. I don't know how many kidney George Weah will use. Those were lies. You saw the Musu, Global Musu Scott dollar issue. They said that there wasn't Koji then. Extrajudicial killing. They said that we don't want doing it. Government was doing extrajudicial killing. All these lies the guy concocted. But thank God that Staton Witherspoon, one of the propagandists of the Unity Party.
Meanwhile, Seyon accused the Unity Party-led government of continuing to implement policies introduced on the CDC administration. He maintained that former President George Weah proposed agenda brought significant improvements to Liberia during his term in government.
We only modifying some of the things that we did and some of the things we were not able to do because of the time. These are the things that the people in this country are going to be looking at. We came to power, we instituted policies that Liberians are benefited from. And if I had to name few of the policies, the free wash fee payment. It's a policy that we instituted. Children, even including Joseph Boga children, his cousins, nephew, they are benefiting from it. They are not paying wash fee. That's President We Have Vision. We instituted a free tuition policies in colleges and universities, public universities and colleges. They are benefiting from it. We instituted a policy where you don't have to stay online at the university campus to go on and you register online.
That's the voice of the chairperson of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Sando County Chapter, Emmanuel Seyon, accusing the Unity Party-led government of continuing to implement policies introduced under the CDC administration. At the same time, revealing that the party lost the 2023 presidential election due to its failure to effectively counter what he described as continuous propaganda from the opposition, particularly the Unity Party. Well, it is 1:30 news hour. We'll now go to Studio B, where Stephen Taylor returns with the passion of last post.
Kotu FA has secured promotion to the Liberia Football Association's second division after completing a perfect run in the national third division playoffs. The Montserrat County side defeated the Tono FC of Maggie 1-0 in the final playoff match to finish top of the group with 9 points from 3 games. The promotion means that Montserrat County will have 2 representatives in the second division next season, with Tibe FA having already secured promotion. Kotu FA went unbeaten throughout the playoffs and will now begin preparation for the tougher competition held in the second division league. Liberia winger Robin Hinn has officially joined the training camp of LPRC Orlos FC, beginning a new chapter in his football career. The former Vapors SC player took part in his first training session with the Orlos after ending his time with the Uganda champions. Hanning's arrival is part of head coach Kupo's Sano's plan to strengthen the team's attacking options ahead of the new season. Sano has reportedly identified Winger as a player of interest even before taking charge of LPRC. Always known for his pace, flair, and attacking ability, Henne will be hoping to make an immediate import to help the others compete strongly in the upcoming league. And finally, away from Liberia, but still on Liberian player, Liberian winger Edward Leno has continued his impressive preseason form with Algerian side also Cleve scoring in the team's 2-2 draw against Kwati side Samia. Leno scored also achieves a second goal, adding to his grand preseason tally after also finding the net in the club's 8-2 victory over IS Sport. The former Liberian international has emerged as one of those clubs stand-out performance during preseason, showing pace, confidence, and stronger finishes. His consistent performances are boosting expectations ahead of the new campaign, with Leno appearing set to play an important role for Oso Clef. And that's the sport.
Stephen Talud with the passion of last post is indeed a regular featured on Blaze News Point. The next time you listen to sport news on Blaze News Point will be at 7:30 on tomorrow. We'll not take on more development. The Monrovia Consolidated School System says it is taking steps to address teacher welfare and personnel challenges through government payroll placement, scholarship opportunities, and improve employee management. Speaking at the Charles Brown Press Hall in Monrovia, MCSS Superintendent Dr. Gory Stevens said one of the institution's major challenges is the large number of qualified teachers who are not yet on the government payroll. Dr. Stevens said the MCSS is working to facilitate the placement of qualified teachers subject to verification and other required personnel processes.
A major inherent challenge has been the large number of volunteer teachers serving MCSS without formal placement on government payroll. Through engagement with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, funding has been secured toward transitioning more than 459 volunteer teachers onto the MCSS payroll, subject to the required re-verification and personnel processes. MCSS also completed the 2025-2026 academic year. Government funding has secured to cover tuition for 19 MCSS international scholarship students and their return airline tickets upon completion of their studies from India. These teachers who have returned will be assigned to various schools to apply their requisite knowledge and skills, enhancing the academic success of our students. Additionally, 11 MCSS students received international baccalaureate scholarship through the Ministry of Education and are currently studying at Our Lady of Grace International School. We thank Education Minister Dr. Jocelyn M. Jala for this support.
And meanwhile, Dr. Stevens said the MCSS is developing a digital employment management system that will serve as the institution's first comprehensive electronic personnel database.
MCSS now has an official website developed through our Department of Information Technology. We are also advancing the development of the MCSS Employee Management System, which will establish the institution's first comprehensive digital employee database. The system will strengthen personnel management, transparency, accountability, record keeping, and evidence-based decision making. Unlimited internet service has also been installed at the MCSS Central Office, with further connectivity interventions being considered for our schools. Institutional reform and accountability. MCSS is strengthening its internal systems to ensure improvements are sustainable.
That's the voice of the Monrovia Consolidated School System Superintendent, Dr. Gory Stevens, revealing that the MCSS is taking steps to address teacher welfare and personnel challenges through government payroll placement, scholarship opportunities, and improved employee management. At the same time, revealing that the MCSS is developing a digital employee management system that will serve as the institution's first comprehensive electronic personnel database. To this development, Nima County Superintendent Kou Gondo has defended the allocation of US $10,000 annually to lawmakers in each district, saying the money was approved by the county council to support legislative engagements and development initiatives. Superintendent Gondo says the funds are intended to help lawmakers visit development projects, engage citizens, and monitor projects across the county. She explained that the US $10,000 is an additional amount to be approximately US $5,000 lawmakers receive from central government.
When the council started, they saw the need for legislative engagements. So as much as county council now is doing some of the role that the lawmakers used to do at county sittings, but they still have an oversight over the county, the legislators here. So they should come, they look at the projects we do, look at the engagements, grade them, have inputs, engage with the people. So in their wisdom, they resoluted 10,000 per lawmaker per district, right? So the lawmakers will come. So 10,000 a year, you're talking about, if you do the math, almost 2,000 something per quarter. And say they should be able to come, look at the project, sit with us. That is to help good governance. So some people will say the central government already gave the people money for constitutional engagement. True. So I think they received somewhere around 5,000 from the central government. But then it's just like how we in local government complain that we used to receive 188,000 per county for county development fund.
Superintendent Gondo also noted that Nima County remains united despite growing political interest among some individuals, stressing that the county is politically important due to its population and resources. She called on Nima residents to remain focused on development and not allow political differences to create division.
It's a food-rich county. It's politically attractive. So people will try to change the discourse. People have different political interests. It's big. So you'll see this, in my mind, still minor disagreements. You will see people with different followers pushing different things. But at the end of the day, the county is moving forward. And at the end of the day, when the real time for politics comes, Nimba, they were going to come together as a county and do what's in the best interest of the county. I'm not particularly bothered because my work is easier. This is a county that overwhelmingly supported this government, voted for this president. So I do not have a lot when in terms of opposition pushback. Sometimes you will hear different opinions here, and that will be a different distraction. Even you face the street, suppose that they should roll out with ease, but generally that's not the case of Nimba.
And lastly of the news scene, the Federation of Liberian Youth has revealed that it will launch the National Youth Government Dialogue on Wednesday, August 12, 2026, as part of activities marking National Youth Day. FLAD President Ernest Jada said the dialogue will be held on the theme closing the gap and building trust between young people and government. Jada said the initiative will provide a platform for young Liberians to directly engage government officials on issues affecting them and discuss practical solutions to the challenges they face.
On International Youth Day, the Federation of Liberian Youth will launch the National Youth Government Dialogue. And the theme for this dialogue is going to be closing the gap and building trust between young people and the government. We're launching this because, as we've said over time, young people are not just the majority, but the absolute majority. 74.6%, according to the 2022 census, of the people living in Liberia, they're under 35. And so, because we're the majority, we see that often young people in government can only interact when there's election or when there's crisis. And so we want to change that. The way we want to do this is by engaging government constructively or government institutions constructively to ensure that they do not just deliver programs for young people, but they're working with young people to deliver those programs. And so we're moving from complaints to conversations and to ensure that these conversations lead to solutions. So usually these sort of dialogue, people go there, make speeches and go home. Our intention is for this to be different. We want young people to sit directly with government officials. They will ask all the questions on their minds. We will identify the gaps in engagement together, and we'll also share experiences and then propose solutions that we can work on together. And the expectation of the government agencies is to ensure that we want these government institutions to listen to young people, want them to help us work with us to identify how they can deliver better for young people. So for the maiden edition tomorrow, we have Josita Nuvio Wento as the maiden guest, and we have her because she's one of the youngest public officials appointed by the president, and we think it's an opportunity to listen to her and also to listen to young people as well.
Well, listeners, on this note, this how we love to draw down the curtains on today's presentation of the program Blaze News. When we'll go to recap of the major stories. President Joseph Boakai calls for urgent action to address delays and implementation gaps affecting his administration, the rest agenda for inclusive development. Ministry of Education begins digitizing school operating permits to improve transparency, accountability, and monitoring of schools across Liberia. Managing Director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Mohammed Ali, announces increment in Puer Bond water from 5% to 9% of the country's population. And away from Liberia, South African police launches an investigation after 14 suspected illegal miners were killed when a man dump site collapsed on them on Monday night. Mr. Benitez, our news director, reported editor and correspondent for making this edition of Blaze News Point or sources. Steven Talu brought to the news bulletin in the person of last post. Helen Kabasana controlled and coordinated this presentation. On behalf of the News and Current Affairs Department of Blaze Communications Network Incorporated, my name is Mensu Mendid. I present a good evening and have yourself a pleasant night from Painesville.